It's refreshing to see a chunk of new indie titles actually come off of early access lately. That section of Steam has become somewhat of a wasteland for perpetually unfinished indie titles. A large amount of them have actually worked their way through to completion in recent months. One that may fly under a lot of radars is a small roguelike platformer named Cosmochoria. Should you pay the low ticket price to shoot for the stars, or are you better off leaving the jetpack behind? The game is focused on rescuing planets by planting seeds and cultivating them while defending yourself from enemies, traveling from world to world with nothing but a ray gun, a jetpack, and your space helmet. The concept is novel at first. Healed planets in turn grant you a partially replenished life bar, as well as a piece of treasure that can usually be exchanged for small gameplay modifications from the game's only real story character, the old bearded alien. The Elder also goes on to reveal pieces of the story for this universe upon completing each boss. The game doesn't really take its own narrative seriously. Holograms of some planet's past residents are spread out to give some strange but humorous lines. Dialogue is typically pretty tongue-in-cheek. Even the menu text doesn't seem to care too much about its own story. With the amount of lightheartedness, it's difficult to take the story seriously at all as it's slowly revealed to you. The galaxy was apparently destroyed by a great cataclysm, and reinvigorating planets and collecting pieces of a one stone is supposed to make it return once more, so it may be extinguished. Cosmochoria is set up around roguelike elements. When players die, they can spend their collected diamonds on upgrades like weapons, speed boosts, and equipment. The lack of tutorials is refreshing, as it gives you some time and space to discover every design aspect on your own. The game is essentially broken down into lives or runs. At first you'll feel completely vulnerable to the cosmos, with little in the way of defending yourself, but eventually you become strong enough to take on a large chunk of the galaxy at once. Sadly, some upgrades fail to make the player feel actually powerful, which is a hugely important aspect in this kind of game design. Very few unlockable guns feel effective, and the upgraded speed just makes maneuvers feel more jerky and hard to control. Ultimately, progression feels like a bit of a grind, and as you get farther, it unfortunately only gets worse. Summoning bosses is done by rescuing a certain number of planets, though their appearance is random after you've completed the correct number. This means you could rescue 6 planets while waiting for an enemy that should appear after only 3. This problem halts the flow of the game immensely. Planting seeds and fertilizing them is probably the least interesting thing to do, and having to do a lot of it for no reason is a real blow to player morale. This all wouldn't be so much of an issue if the health wasn't so vital in each run. The AI in this game is overwhelmingly centered upon rushing the player for contact damage. Oftentimes we would die fighting off miscellaneous enemies while waiting for the boss to arrive, only to restart the game and recoup our lost planet count. Space exploration feels vast and intimidating at first, but this is quickly replaced with a sense of checking off a list once the map is purchased. On more than one occasion we experienced game-ending crashes due to what seemed to be attaining too high of a player speed, making purchasing boosts and entering portals to be a reluctant affair. Bricks can be collected and used to plant tower defense style objects, though since these can be carried between runs, you'll constantly want to save these for something, and likely forget about them altogether. The colorful but plain art is cute and appealing, but to some it can be jarring in its simplicity. Music is suiting for the ambient spacey tone, although there can be some real ear piercers. It's really too bad that there are so many problems to be found in Cosmochoria. There is something here to be appreciated, as the game captures a legitimate arcade feel and does well to pay homage to Mario, Asteroids, and Space Invaders. It's not a title that deserves to be completely skipped over, but it's clear that this one may need some more time in the soil.
Don't forget to subscribe and share.